I would like to introduce to you our panel members who focused on arts, design, and innovation to share their views on how we could meet up with these challenges. Our moderator for the panel discussion is Dr. Aditi Saxena, Dean, School of Arts and Design, Woxin University. Our esteemed panel includes Mr. Munwar Khan, Head, India at Oppo. Dr. P.V. Satyaprasad, Acting Dean and Associate Professor, School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, Woxin University. Dr. Bruno Enrique Rocha Fernandez, Dean of Business School at PUCPR. Please give another round of applause for our moderator for the day, along with our panel members who will commence the discussion on arts, design, and innovation with context to higher education. I would request our moderator to keep the discussion brief and have a time check for 30 minutes. Thank you so much.
It's very tough, very difficult to keep the panel time short because we have the panelists, those who have a lot to say, but definitely I will try to do that. Just a brief about the discussion, what we are going to discuss today. I think every individual understands the Vision 2035 in their own unique way, based on their skill, competency, and their experience with the world. And I think the last word, experience with the world, is very, very important. We have started the journey, and the goal is not too far yet. How do we understand now? I'm not going to talk about a lot, but I want to talk about a little bit about education, learning space, and Vision 2035. One of the major agenda of Vision 2035 in the context of education is lifelong learning, creating a mechanism for lifelong learning, which all our fellow colleagues has been discussing from the day one, from yesterday. Now, this lifelong learning is for young learners, adult learners, the people, the students from underprivileged background, and also the students with learning disabilities. In 2035, the world will be center of business, technology, society, and economy. Few of the major keywords which pop up during the different discussion in Vision 2035 are AI, VR, nanotechnology, mobility design, transportation design, space management, energy management, education, and many more. Now, where the keywords of art, design, and innovation lies. Art, design, and innovation are associated with each of the domains which we are talking about in the context of Vision 2035. What is design? Design does not require a grand gesture. It can solve the small, universal, and often overlooked problems. So, small is the new big in the design, and that is probably today's discussion. Thank you. Moving to Mr. Munwar Khan. Munwar, my first question, of course it's not a question, but it's just starting with a question. Post-COVID, we realized that use of mobile technology and multiple software, which combinedly known as techno-pedagogy, is getting more, prominence. And also people understand the significance of this techno-pedagogy to change the learning space in terms of inclusivity and other diversity. But at the same time, it has also observed that the use of techno-pedagogy is not, we haven't explored so much what we should. So my first question is that how we can use this techno-pedagogy in the creative space or creative learning space, what we can call it art, design, and innovation.
First of all, thank you very much, Watson University and Mr. Chahat, for giving this opportunity to interact with very wonderful people coming from around the world. So coming back to today's topic of panel discussion, it's all about design, innovation, and art. So the techno-pedagogy is nothing but combining the teaching methods with the technology, which is moreover this device or your big device. That's the technical or the techno-pedagogy. So basically, if we go back to the Vision 35, so of course this decade will hold with the creative economy and as well as creators economy. So we need to see in this perspective. So creative economy, I will give some example how the things are happening into the creative economy. For example, Uber is the largest transportation company in the world, but they don't have any vehicle. Airbnb is the largest real estate handler in this planet, but they don't have any property of their own. Instagram is a photo company, even you can see in their logo, but they don't sell camera. So this is the exactly creative economy, and we are dealing with that creative economy. So creative economy is nothing but to utilize the power of imagination of the people. That's the creative economy, and we need to learn for that creative economy and in that creative economy. And when it comes to creators economy, at the micro level or at our own learners level, we have a lot of opportunity to create the content. And the platform like Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, anything is leading to that economy. So there are both the ends. So we are in between. So coming back to the techno pedagogy, I believe it's not limited use, it's saturation of the usage. Because most of the techno pedagogy is focused on access of information. But I believe that there's no smartness or wiseness to get the access to information. Imagine, here are the student, professor, and dean. All the student, all the professors, and the mentor of those professors have access to the same information. Then what is the learning point there? How we can learn from each other. So my point here, to make a point of view, is the learning experience. So in this creative economy, I would like to emphasize on creating the point of view. In this forum is a best example. Here we are not getting a new information. Here we are getting the new point of view, the world view, how the people are thinking. This forum itself see from different part of the world. So the new learning in this creative economy will be creating the point of view. And give me just a minute how we can leverage. For example, internet is common to all, but we are trying to make a personal access network. Personal access network. If you Google it, you will not find the information about the personal access network because we recently patented it. It means our device is more capable to learn than our capacity to learn. My device, this device is learning more than me. So I can collaborate, I can create my own personal access network. For example, if I'm collaborating with Mr. Chahat, so I have something to share interested network. Suppose I want to post few images from this thing. So my and Chahat device will communicate with each other and I will get the information from the Chahat without any intervening kind of thing, without any interface. So that's the personal access network. So the new learning should be how you are accessing the information of personal value, personal point of view. For example, if we can get one document from the Warren Buffett, about the investment, and I have the personal access network, I can search what Buffett is telling to me before investing or buying the share of Amazon. That's the personal access network. So this can be a new thing because we are talking about 2035. So that should be something. So I believe the techno pedagogy is still not reaching to the level. It's just focusing on the information access, not the learning experiences. It's my opinion. I think.
Thank you, Munwar. I think a very, very important point. Definitely, I have noted down few points. I'll sum up at the end of the conversation. Professor Satyaprasad, I have framed my question based on the domain where our speakers belong to. Of course, we know that domains are overlapping, but we want to know a very unique information from our speakers. Now, when we consider the media and entertainment industry, which is it's a huge revenue industry, then we come to the media in entertainment education. And there are many research shows that the recent media users, that means mostly the Gen Z, they are not scared, neither threatened with any of the thoughts. They are very, very vocal compared to the adult media behavior. Now, my question to you, Dr. Satyaprasad, that how this shift of trend of, very open-minded, vocal audience as well as the media learners, how it affect the Vision 2035?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aditi. My perspective as someone who has been in the media industry and now in academics is a little different from the traditional perspectives being churned out here from our panel members. Let me begin by saying that the media perspective, be it on the education academia interface or be it on the access of material or information through techno graduates, as Mr. Khan has rightly mentioned, is that media has always taken a little bit of an unusual stand. I am sure you're all aware that we have this adage that generally when a dog bites a man, it's not considered news, right? It's not reported. But if a man bites a dog, it does become news. So here we are primarily focusing on the unusual. When you talk about academia industry interface, so much has been said here, right, about the importance of making students industry ready. But I believe that media has long been industry ready. The media students, the media graduates, and the media education has already been conceived in a way, let's say, even if I talk about 2 decades ago when I was doing my master's, we were already industry ready. We could just walk in to any media channel or media platform and yes, we were ready for work. So I think there's a lot of hue and cry about whether the current curriculum is making students industry ready or not. So this, I believe, the media industry has already set the trend and media education has already made the students, maybe from 3 decades back, industry ready. So here I guess the novelty is that the media, the perspective, the media take and the involvement of techno-pedagogy, as my learned panelist has been talking about, has not been really seen at a level that has been seen in other streams of education, be it in management, be it in technology. Here I would like to just take a little deviation from the panel discussion to say that probably the reason why we are witnessing this kind of a trend is that when we talk about techno-pedagogy, we should remember that the world is still facing something called as the digital divide. Okay, when you talk of introducing technopedagogy, how much or how many percentage of people in the world really have access to these technological devices or gadgets that they can actually use to get education? The answer is really a lot to be desired. I believe if you talk about digital divide in the society, hardly 40% of the population in the world have access to gadgets through which they can actually access, higher education and stuff like that. Even if you look at the pandemic, what had happened in the last 2 years when pandemic was at the peak, uh, online learning was gaining popularity because there was lockdown all around the world. And students, be it in the rural areas, be it in the urban centers, be it anywhere in the world, they were suddenly compelled to shift to the digital mode of education. And what was the result? The result was that the students' performances was really something, absolutely below the par, you can say. So my perception here is that technology alone is not the binding factor to make education or make students industry ready. It is the curriculum which is really the most important thing here. So I believe that we should have a good mix of technology and curriculum, while at the same time we need to emphasize on digital access, availability of digital gadgets for people from all sections of the society, so that we create a level playing field across the length and breadth of this globe. So this is my humble submission.
Thank you, Dr. Satyaprasad. Moving forward, Professor Bruno. Design is something beyond the physical world. It can change the way we see the world. It can change the way we do the business, we perceive the world. My question to you is that how do design can change the strategy and the human management from the big corporations to the small startup in context of Vision 2035? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Aditi. Thank you, everyone. As I mentioned, I'm quite happy to be here again. According to your question, yes, we can think about design in a traditional way, product design. So, for instance, Apple, which first think about design and then put engineering inside. Yeah, but now we are thinking, or I'm talking about product design, but considering design or understanding design in a broader way, yes, we can think design in everything. So if we consider design as a kind of philosophy of, okay, you have a mission, you have a vision as a company, and then you have to take care of your user, of your customer, and how can I provide an excellent experience to that user, to that company. So, yes, design is something that you can apply everywhere. You can apply to product design, you can apply to design a service, you can apply it for improving a process, and even for a business model. So according to that perspective, yes, design can be understood as a quite strategic way to look forward and to think about strategy. But you also mentioned about people. How can we engage people in that idea? And I would say that, it's all about people. So it's people in the end, your final customer, the one I have to satisfy, the one I have to provide a solution. But we are also talking about people in the middle, our employees, who are the people who will make it happen. So therefore, they must be quite aligned. They must understand. They must be enthusiastic about your proposal. And you are talking about people in the whole society who will benefit from what you are proposing. And these ideas, they are quite simple, and they are in all kind of companies. We can think about huge multinational companies, government, we can think about startups, small and medium enterprise, so on and so forth. So yes, it's a quite useful way to think about business world.
Thank you, Professor Bruno. Mr. Vadim, I have a question to you that is, the world has witnessed a sharp decline in terms of international students' mobility. Definitely, COVID is one of the factors, but the entire geopolitical situation is also another reason for this sharp decline of international students' mobility. There are many research says that universities should pay attention to the funding, scholarship, mentoring, or many other aspects. I would like to request you to share your thoughts that how we can create a more sustainable ecosystem for the international students.
Okay, this question requires a fairly extensive answer. And I will split it into parts. The first one is what the university does to accommodate international students. We can talk about the cultural, so household, pedagogical, and psychological adaptation. Almost all foreign students, not only social and cultural disadvantaged ones, needs such adaptation. To answer this task, our university has a system of volunteers who help their wards in their studies solve everyday issues, introduce them to the university and the city, and so on. Psychological support is provided by University Center for the Psychological Assistance. In addition, in accordance with our third role of university, our university actively interacts with the local authorities. So this year, with our direct participation, a regional center for supporting foreign students was established, which should solve all the problems of foreign students in PEM region, from how to organize their leisure time to solving legal issues. Another example of our work with local authorities is the project of the Unified Campus, in which foreign students from all universities of the city will live, of course together with the Russian ones. And the second part of the question is the combined efforts that the academic community of all the academic community of the international services of the all Russian universities are making to interact with the federal authorities. One example of this interaction is change in federal legislation. Now Russian immigration legislation has become perhaps one of the most liberal in the whole world. Foreign students who study in Russia has the right to work, and for this he doesn't need a work permit. There are no quotas or restrictions on working hours per week or per month.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Quite an important point you have raised. Just want to check our students that what is the time left for the panel. Accordingly, I can move. 5 minutes? Okay, very good. I have a question, which is my best question for Mr. Munwar Khan, and probably I can repeat quickly. Kevin Batuni, the Vice President of the Strategic Design Cohort at BCG Digital Ventures from North America, stated, designers have 4 key superpowers. The superpowers are X-ray vision, shape shifting, they can see shapes are shifting, extrasensory perception, which is ESP, and to make others superhuman. I'm just repeating the 4 keywords again. One is X-ray vision, shape shifting, extrasensory perception, which is ESP, and make others superhuman. My question to you is that how, as a design leader, you think that these 4 keywords, empower the learners towards the vision of 2035?
Okay, little heavy question. Mr. Kelvin's perspective is towards little deviation from the traditional thinking, how the designer can create the value. By the way, he is in my touch, so I am telling to add 4th, 5th as well, which is a point of view based on pure empathy. So these 4 or 5 things will make or empower people to convert them into a superpower. So one thing I want to mention here is collective intelligence, which is a kind of thing which we all should learn. So as of now, we are very much confident about our personal intelligence, individual intelligence. But considering the Vision 35, that personal intelligence is not enough to take the critical decisions in any field, whether it's a design, it's a business, a service model, anything. So cross-cultural things will happen. We need to mobilize the masses. We need to work with the team. So your individual intelligence will just add value, but it's not the final thing. So I believe that considering this extra power or very superpower from the design, the other stream can learn about the collective intelligence. Everybody should have their own style of collective intelligence, how you are collaborating, how you are empathizing, and how you are interacting with the people. So I will give one example, and you can also practice, especially the students. Every leader or any person who wants to contribute in this creative economy must form a mental advisory board. I will explain in a minute what is mental advisory board, every student especially. And I think here the leaders from the university should ask to submit your mental advisory board to the faculty member. So mental advisory board is that the person can be living or dead, and you can include that person into your advisory board, and whenever you are making a decision or some advancement in your learning, you can ask to the same question to that person. What would that person will do in that particular situation? For example, in design, I can include Steve Jobs in my mental advisory board. And whenever I am taking design decision, I would ask question, what Steve Jobs must have done in this situation? I should learn from that character and then reflect it back. So such kind of thing should lead to the collective intelligence, and I believe this will be a kind of a new way to collaborate, a new way to learn from other people and make a collective intelligence out of this. So this is my view on these superpowers, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Munwar. We have only 5 minutes left. I got the chit. So I humble request to my panelists to just spend one minute quickly. My question is lengthy. I can't help it out, but you can give me a very, very short answer. Dr. Satyaprasad, I am referring to your quote that if a dog bites a man, it's not a news, but if a man bites a dog, it's a news, which sees the unusual focus of the media and entertainment industry. My question to you is that moving forward towards the goal of 2035, how the contemporary media educators influence the young media students to focus on poverty, national unity, democracy in the vision of 2035. 1 minute. Thank you.
Okay. This question requires a longer time, but yes, I'll try to sum it up. Um, how will media education influence concepts related to poverty, education, and employment? Perhaps you've all heard that we have this concept of development communication. Development communication is something that reflects and reports on the developmental activities that is taking place or that are taking place across the rural areas or semi-urban areas across the world. Unfortunately, mainstream media is very commercial and obsessed with sensationalization and news, like involving celebrities, etc. My perspective is that it's time the media actually focuses on development communication. By focusing on development communication, we can actually draw inspiration from the myriad developmental activities that are taking place across the length and breadth of the world. The world should know, the world has a right to know what kind of developmental aspects are taking place. And quickly summing up, the role of media in education has been quite a historical one. If you all remember, way back in 1975, the government of India has come up with using SIET, Satellite Instructional Television Education. This has actually revolutionized how education was brought to the doorstep of the people through the media of television. So we are talking about social media, etc. these days. But way back in 1970s, I'm talking about 1975, the government of India, through its unique initiative, SIET, Satellite Instructional Education Television, has already brought education to the doorsteps of millions of people. So I believe media education is already doing its bit towards focusing on poverty, employment, and education and rural development.
Thank you, Dr. Satyaprashant. Professor Bruno, I think this question might be a repetition, but I still would like to request you to, share your thoughts. When we talk about the, technopedagogy or involvement of the technology in the class, we can see an uneven progress. As Dr. Satyaprashant was also talking about digital divide and other things. But there is also another issue of digital security, or people have other kind of thought process. So many universities are also little bit conservative about incorporating few tools in their classroom education or entire education landscape. So how can we reduce this uneven progress or uneven implementation of technology in an education landscape? Not exactly the digital divide, but I'm mostly talking about the implementation part. Thank you.
Okay. I think that when we are talking about implementation of new technologies, and also in education, we are not, the main issue here is not the general ideas, but the details, cause, we all know about the digital transformation, we all know about the necessity of changing skills, but which specific technology or, for instance, programming, computer language should we choose? So this is the big issue here. And I think that the best option here is to use that kind of lean startup mentality model, that instead of trying to guess, there is a strategic management author, Akov, who proposed a dilemma to predict and to prepare. And the matter here is not to predict, but to be prepared. So what we should try here is that kind of linear startup mind, which means that, you have to pay attention, you have to do small experiments, you have to formulate hypotheses, you can test it, you can confirm or you can deny it, and then you can, okay, if they are okay, you can scale it up or you can just pivot it, and then you do another small experiment, and through that process you are going to be always tuned, and then you can find which one can be the best approach for you in your classroom or in adopt technology in a general term.
Thank you very much. I think we can also, like, you know, when one university is coming up with an innovative framework or innovative approach that can be shared with the other university network, that also a helpful option for us to, you know, reduce the gap. We probably have 1 more minute left, but I would like to ask one question. I'm skipping few questions, but this is one of the important questions which I would like to ask Mr. Vadim. Education is one of the most effective means of eliminating and reducing the poverty, as well as promoting the social mobility. Combining work and the study is a long-term development strategy for economically and culturally disadvantaged international students. Many of the international students, when they go out, they try to balance their work as well as their study because they are forced to do that. Many studies shows that many of the international students ended up with depression because there is a huge pressure on them. I would like to request you if you can, you know, throw some light on this area, that how universities, not only the counseling, but how universities help the international students to, you know, move forward to the growth of their journey. Thank you.
I will be very laconic. As I said previously, we have the special psychological center for the psychological assistance for these students to lower the pressure that they expect from the unusual weather, unusual food, unusual social environment. This is one part, the social support, the psychological support, sorry. And the other one is the system of bodies, the academic angels that support the foreign students during the study and campus life. Next step is the creating the city environment that have to be comfortable for the foreign students, not on the campus, but in the whole city and among the local people. It's a very important task for our university as the university that creates local society, supports local society, create new senses for the society in the region, to eliminate any xenophobia, to improve tolerance in the society. And that's it. And if to talk about the necessity to find the funding for the study, we have the special services that help foreign students find a job that can be useful for them in their future career. Not exactly absolutely the same with their profile, but not absolutely something inappropriate for them, like the food services or something, working in the restaurants and so forth and so on. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank all the panelists and the audience. I think very, very interesting few keywords emerge from this discussion. I would probably share some other time because there is a time constraint. But I think what Munwa was talking about, you know, creative economy, user, you know, he was giving the example Uber or other, you know, panelists was talking about few things. I think we can take a reference and moving forward to the successful journey towards Vision 2035. Thank you.